Although edited for television, tonight's thriller contains scenes of suspense and violence which may be unsuitable for young viewers. Parental discretion is advised.
State-of-the-art Japanese animation.
Speaking of emotionally immature characters, you want to get on to our review of Beastars second season?
Yeah, sure. But what is emotionally immature about Beastars?
Dan,
How's that the segue?
Just let the segue happen. Just let it happen. No, I do have a couple issues with the club situation.
Really?
Yeah, I really do.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's so I guess we should
I forgot to preface.
I want to dig into that, but I guess we should discuss. Yeah, so this is Beastars season 2. We reviewed season 1 already on this podcast.
Yes,
We've
that
also-
was
all the way
our
back in-
sleeper hit.
Yeah, all the way back in March of last year.
That was
Yeah.
one of our first couple episodes. Please don't
Yep.
listen to it.
And I rewatched season 1 to get ready for season 2.
Yeah, Dan did
Rewatched
the
that
baller
earlier in the
move over
week.
there.
Yeah.
I just watched the first scene and the last scene of
So
the
not even the full episodes, just the
No,
scenes.
I just needed the scenes because I just needed pertinent information from those scenes.
Okay.
It's seared into my brain.
So we were all fans of season 1, as I
Mhm.
recall.
Yes.
We went into season 2 expecting to like it. Although if I remember correctly, you had mentioned, Amelia, that this got relatively mediocre reviews on the internet.
People just say like, why does it need to be made with animal characters? Can't you tell this story with humans?
No, absolutely not.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's literally the entire point.
Yeah. So yeah, I loved season 2, although I think that it in some ways it is better than season 1, in some ways it is worse than season 1.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, I loved it. I thought it was very thought provoking.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the pluses far outweighed the minuses.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't. How bad is an anime that like makes you watch it in 2 days? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I wouldn't have watched it in 2 days if I didn't have to.
oh really?
Yeah, I would have watched it in like 2 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah, that's not his style, Amelia.
I know, but I was thinking, maybe.
There are no exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, no, the first season of Beastars, I watched the first 4 episodes and I had to go to work the next day and I was really upset because I just wanted to sit and finish the rest of the series. And so then I did the next day. So that was that 10 episodes? No. Whatever.
8.
Yeah, anyway, so I watched 8 episodes in one sitting where it's like, and I was like, okay, this shit drops on Thursday, we record on Sunday, like time to bust this out. But also like I couldn't stop watching it. Like it's just one of those shows that like Netflix makes it so easy to watch. Taking out the ending song, and I did not skip the opening because the opening is fucking amazing.
I get real irritated with how they skip the ending song. I gotta like hustle real fast to stop.
Where's the remote? Where's the remote?
Yeah,
Like search around for it.
Yeah.
What's crazy is sometimes I lose my Roku remote. I watch it on Roku. Okay, watch it on Roku. I lose my Roku remote, but there's a Roku app that turns your phone into a remote. So I'm like quickly like face ID, like trying
Interesting.
scrolling through all of my apps trying to get to my Roku app.
Mm-hmm. It has to connect to the internet and then connect to your TV, your Roku.
By that time, next episode's already playing.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I'll check that out. What did you think of it, Geoff?
I thought it was great. It was a great segue into the next story arc, or continuing the story arc. I think they did what it was really done well is they're able to condense the best parts. I haven't read the manga, but I'm assuming the best parts of the manga into these 10 or 12 episodes for one season into the next, and they just feel really seamless. I don't know. They did it. Studio Orange did a really good job.
I think the animation quality is better if like it's the same. They do the same type of visual styles.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think that's integral to why this anime is so good, because you can seamlessly watch all of this and it has the same, there's no production loss on the second season. And it's very seamless.
Yeah, consistent. Yeah.
It's just so good.
So what did you not like about the club scene?
Okay. So.
Whoa. We're getting into spoilers already?
Okay, well, yeah, we need to do spoiler situation. So I'm just gonna sum up the first season.
Sure.
And if you have not watched Beastars, you probably don't want to listen to the rest of this podcast, because fucking spoilers for season 1, spoilers for season 2. Like, we cannot talk about this without diving into everything that is Beastars.
It's juicy.
It is.
No
And
pun intended.
So the first season, it sets up the world that these characters are going to be in. It sets up Legoshi and Haru's relationship, and basically their coming of age throughout the first season, how their relationship plays out, being a wolf and a tiny baby rabbit. The main plot point is that one of their friends, Tem, has gotten eaten by another student at the school, and they have started an investigation. But by the end of the season, I think a few months have passed throughout the school year, and pretty much everyone's forgotten about it. But Legoshi is on his quest to find out who murdered Tem.
Yeah, I think season 1 really focuses on the romance and relationship dynamic between Hal, the dwarf bunny, Legoshi, the male wolf, Juno, the female wolf, and Ruiz, the male deer, and their love square trapezoid.
And the second season picks up right where we left off. A couple months after summer has gone. Legoshi and Haru have been rescued from the mafia, from the Yakuza, and they are starting their new school term. But Ruiz is not there because he went MIA at the end of season 1. And the final scene from season 1, the final scene, because we talked about this a lot in that episode because I was very speculative. The final scene is someone in the bathroom, seemingly worked up for whatever reason. They pan to the trash can that has an empty like blister pack of what rewatching it looked like gum, just saying. But we are led to believe that it could be medicine or pills or drugs or whatever you want to call that. And Legoshi sees this person walking down the hallway and says, hey, we've been looking for you. Come with us. And then he walks down the hallway a little bit and then turns because the guy isn't coming with him. He's like, why are you smiling? And that's where season 1 leaves off. So basically, season 1 leaves off with the person that Legoshi is talking to is who has murdered Tem. But we, the viewer, don't know that yet. Or we don't know who that person is. We just know that is the person. So season 2.
Yeah, season 2 spends much less time on all the relationship stuff, and I think spends much more time on the slaughter, the devourment of Tem, and B, just on animal rights and veganism and politics in general. I think it's a much more deals with interesting politics and philosophy significantly more. It's a lot wider in its approach than season 1, and I think that lack of focus is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, I think it makes the story a little bit less emotionally powerful, but it does make it more philosophically or more thematically interesting.
Mhm.
It gives itself a lot of space to go on kind of thematic tangents and paint a variety of pictures with side characters
Mhm.
that there just wasn't space for in season 1.
Well, I wish they brought back those chickens from the first season because they were one of my favorite characters.
Really?
I love that side story.
Mm-hmm. So we're introduced to 2 new characters in this season. The first one being the ghost of the school. Dun dun dun.
AKA Slytherin. Harry Potter reference. Snake in the wall.
Yeah. So the first episode is basically introducing this new character who is the security guard of the school, who lurks in the lecture hall that Tem has been murdered in, and in the vents and stuff up above it to scare students away.
Mhm.
Or I guess not actually scare students away, but like figure out who actually killed Tem.
Mhm.
It's her job to do this, is to find out who has killed Tem, but she's kind of doing a little bit of a bad job. Just saying.
Yeah, well, I was a little confused about her work as investigating the devourment, because she kind of acts like she has the answer already, and she's leading Legoshi to the answer.
Mm-hmm. I feel like
But
her.
does she actually have the answer? If she did, like, she's a fucking security guard. Shouldn't she like do what she is formally obligated to do by the nature of her job? Like,
I
this is
think
weird.
that she was just there to remind Legoshi that he was how upset he was about Tem, and that Tem's murderer still is in the school, lurking around and seemingly being like just like meshing in with all the other students.
Yes, it does serve,
I think that's
functionally.
yeah.
It serves a functional utility of having the story get, that is how we get the story kind of refocused from all the relationship stuff to the Tem devourment. And I also don't understand, like, when our six-eyed woman is talking about, giving these hints to Legoshi. She says the hint is already, the answer is already inside of you. I still don't know what that means. How is the answer inside of me? I don't get it.
I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah, it's not like there was some point in the show where Legoshi is like, oh, he has the epiphany that, like, oh, the answer, was inside of me because of my, like,
in my interaction with the security guard who told me that the answer was already inside of me.
Yeah, was the answer like
metaphorical?
Well, I mean, if the answer's inside of
it, he already knows who he. I think she was just insinuating that he knows who the killer is because the killer's in the school, and he's like, oh, I think it's somebody in the drama club because that's the only people that Tem would hang out with. And I'm like, yeah, okay, like, we all know the answer. We all know it's someone in this anime. Like, what do you mean, woman?
Yeah.
That's what I had an issue with. Like, she was introduced in the first 2 episodes and then, like, not really mentioned at all. She was literally just the vessel to get Legoshi to, like, think about Tem again and stop thinking about Hao. Which, like, also, in the subtitles for the first season, didn't they subtitle her name as Haru? And in this season, her name is Hao. But her name has always been Haru.
I thought it was Hal the whole way through.
Oh, wasn't? I thought it was Haru. I was like, who the fuck how?
Yeah, that's how they translate it. There's two different translations.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like Legoshi and Legosi,
Oh, okay.
you know, in
Okay.
pronunciations.
Got it. But anyway, okay. Anyway.
I did think it was interesting that the snake had like a element of body shame or like body dysphoria over not having any limbs. That was a kind of fascinating angle.
Well, yeah, and they kind of talk about that a lot in this season, is the shame of that everybody has the thing that is, what do they call that? Everyone has something that
They're
they're
ashamed of?
insecure about,
Insecure of,
and they have to everyone has to deal with all the things, you know what I mean? That was a sentence.
Qualifies.
So where do we want to move from here? Do we want to jump into plot territory? Or do you want to just sum up how we feel about the season?
I want to take the kitty gloves off and start talking about this shit. So,
Dan cannot handle no spoiler situation.
It's true.
Dan.
Yeah. All right. Well,
okay.
We'll just make the spoiler warning now, because if you haven't watched it by now, you got time. You can stop here, come back, and we can dig a little deeper with us.
We haven't revealed too much information yet.
No.
But we're about to.
Boom, boom, boom.
Okay, can we go now?
All right. New character. Riz.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Riz actually isn't a new character.
Yeah, quote unquote new.
Yeah, because I was skimming through I was skimming. Okay. I didn't watch it all, but I was skimming through the first season, and he's in the background of a lot of shots. And when I was watching the second season, I was like, I don't remember seeing this man at all. Like, I do not know who this person is. Why would he, this person I've never met before in this show, care about murdering someone else? That's my thoughts going through it. I was like,
Riz. I was like, who is this character? This character was not in the original.
And
apparently, if you read the manga, they already were leading up to this reveal anyway.
Oh,
they hinted at it, but they didn't do it so much in the anime. If at all.
I was thinking that it had to be the cheetah, because that's how, like, the cheetah man who looked like it had the same kind of like face.
Bill.
Yeah, Bill. He had like the outlined shape.
Yeah, that was the conclusion our podcast came to with season 1, as I remember this.
Yeah, because Bill gets like really angry, angry all the time, and all he ever wants to do is fight people. And I'm just like, can you stop? Ew.
I was also thrown by Riz. Didn't have enough time / was too lazy to go skim through season 1 to see if Riz was actually in the background or had any vocalizations or anything in season 1. I just assumed, I guess, that this guy must have been in the background of season 1 and just like was so like part of the scenery, I didn't even acknowledge he was there or notice him. So I was not bothered by the suddenness of it. I felt the blame was on me, the viewer.
Yeah, that's why I had to check myself.
Yeah, so you didn't wreck yourself.
And yeah, exactly. But you know who did wreck me? That new beautiful boy, whatever his name is.
Ram boy.
Pina. Oh my God. So beautiful.
Yeah.
Shit personality, but beautiful.
Pina's he's very interesting.
I find him like
strong.
Like in the context of the anime, so cool, and like kind of like like strong. Like he like nothing phases him, and whatever situation he's in, he gets out of, usually without getting hurt.
Yeah, he just charges right between these two carnivores and diffuses the situation instantly,
Yeah.
purely through strength of personality.
Yeah.
It's similar to Ruiz, but whereas Ruiz is kind of a kind of the face of justice, you know, like when Ruiz interjects into a situation, it's, you know, like you shut up and listen because Ruiz is the moral authority. Pina is not the moral authority at all. He's not only self-centered, he's very selfish, but he just has such a strong personality that he muscles his way into situations and kind of dominates weaker personalities, even though he couldn't do anything phically.
The amount of times that he turns his back on carnivores makes me so anxious. Like he just does not, he's just like, he just goes into the situation, says what he's gonna say, and then literally walks away as if like nothing happened. Like we don't need to talk about it anymore. And I'm like, these carnivores are like amped up, ready to go, ready to rip someone to shreds, and he just like turns his back to him. And every time I was like, oh my god, he's gonna die this episode, huh? His shit personality is caught up to him now, huh?
Yeah. Speaking of conflict, I thought the kind of stop and start nature of Legoshi and Riz fighting at the end was very, very interesting. For a literal life or death struggle where they're each more or less trying to kill the other, they're very like polite, thoughtful, you know, very like, oh, there's somebody outside the door. We should pause and wait for this person to vacate the room. Like, oh, it's New Year's. Let's hit pause for a second and celebrate the New Year's. You know,
well, that part was weird, but I understand the part in the school because they will get expelled. They will not be able to go to school.
I mean, though whoever's living is going to get expelled. But...
Yeah. So should we just spoil who killed Tim? Because that's what we find out in this season.
Yep.
Who actually
it happens
killed
pretty
Tim.
Quickly too.
Yeah. Have we not already done that?
No, we haven't. So okay, but real quick, Dan, don't say it. Damn, I forgot what I was gonna say.
We're gonna lead up to.
Yeah, I was gonna lead up to it. So I thought the reveal of Riz. I was just about to spoil it in the sentence.
We'll set up the scene.
Okay. I feel like it was just done so matter-of-factly. Like I should have already known that he was the murderer, and I was just very taken aback that like the reveal wasn't like some big like boisterous like plot turn. It was just basically like, I know you did it. And he's like, well shit, I did.
Yeah,
you're right.
But
I thunk it. I was just like, what? This is the entire reason I've been watching this show.
Yeah, I did not. I thought that the matter-of-factness of it was good. I did not see it coming until Riz was the one that volunteered to carry the anteater's arm.
Oh,
when Riz volunteered
to carry
that
situation.
When Riz volunteered to carry the anteater's arm, that's when I was like, oh, so Riz was the killer. Otherwise, why would they need to go like that? Why else would they need to create a situation where Legoshi and Riz are going to be alone? It has to be because Riz is the killer.
I thought he might have been because he volunteered to take the arm. I thought he was going to eat it on the way, and I was like, "Oh shit!" So basically, right? Okay, so the whole reveal situation. Everyone's in drama club. They're practicing, and then all of a sudden, the anteater, what's his name, Tao, starts screaming like, ah! And apparently, one of the other carnivores, the Black Panther, has like accidentally ripped his arm off.
Yeah, that show was crazy, man. They did not talk
That
about
was
this angle in
so
season
crazy. I was not expecting any of that going into that situation, like at all. And the fact that like there was so much blood everywhere and like everyone was freaking out and the anteater was just like "Wah!" like on the floor
One.
screaming.
Yeah,
Like what an intense moment.
yeah, dude. I couldn't. I was flabbergasted.
My jaw was at the floor and I was like, this is happening? What's, oh my God, like what, like, and also, I'm sorry, why aren't you carrying him off sooner? Like everyone's just like standing around staring at him on the floor.
Yeah. Where are the adults in this situation?
And
Like,
I was like,
shouldn't he call a,
I'm
RA
sorry,
or something?
911 right now. Like
Yeah.
911. Why would you take it to the nurse? Like, no, 911. What do you mean?
The angle there is that they didn't know what had happened necessarily. Like what had actually happened was the Panther had accidentally yanked this guy's arm off, because apparently that's a thing that happens. Carnivores that are, carnivores interacting with herbivores maybe don't always understand their own physical strength and do tremendous damage to herbivores unintentionally, which they go on to explain is a thing that happens with, not exactly frequently, but not infrequently either. They never touched on this in season 1. They're just absolutely like, what in the fucking tarnation? It's like crazy. But at that moment, they don't really understand that that's what happened. They still think that like, oh, dude, did our guy get attacked by another carnivore? So I think that's why they're like, all right, everybody get the fuck back. Like all the carnivores, like assess the situation. We have to protect all the herbivores, because they don't really understand what had happened. It could be that somebody was attacking. If they just go ahead and pick this guy up and run off with them, then like that could expose him or other herbivores to further attack.
Well, that, and it's just like in Twilight, when a vampire smells blood, they're gonna go off.
Yeah. I think that's an angle of it too. Yeah. And that's the anteater guy. That's why he's like, I don't want carnivores to touch me. Like I don't except Legoshi.
Yeah, then he was like, I'll only let Legoshi do it. Only Legoshi can.
And I thought that was kind of emotionally powerful.
Oh my God. I was almost about to cry. Like literally, I had one tear. My puddle, there were puddles. And I was like, wow. And then also when he was in the hospital bed, forgiving him, like, wow. Like so emotional. But anyway, so Legoshi picks up the anteater and Legoshi's like, hey, someone's got to grab his arm. I think we were all reacting the way the kids were reacting. Like, you mean to tell me that I've got to carry an arm, a disembodied arm, like down the hall? No, thank you. Can you imagine? That's why I was like, when Riz was like, I'll do it. And I was like, oh, bitch, he's about to eat this arm. He's about to gobble it up, because like, who is going to volunteer? Because Tao appointed Legoshi approval to carry him. He didn't appoint approval for someone to carry his arm. So I was all like, he about to not get his arm back.
Yeah, I just assumed it was a storytelling mechanic to get Legoshi and Riz together, which there wouldn't really be a purpose for that unless Riz was the killer and Legoshi was about to confront him.
Yeah, I didn't put that 2 and 2 together, but I knew something was up.
Cool scene though.
Oh my God.
And I think the matter of factness, it's interesting because the Attack on Titan Reiner and Berthold reveal was also extremely matter of fact, and I felt like that was a subversion of expectations, which is such a hot keyword in today's critical analysis of media.
You said,
but this matter of factness, I did not think was necessarily subverting our expectations, although I understand that it kind of does, insofar as we were expecting this to be a big dramatic reveal, and it wasn't. But I think it fits very nicely in story, because these kinds of devourments are relatively commonplace, and it's like one carnivore confronting another in private. They like have a level of empathy and understanding for each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, not to say that it's not that big a deal, but I understand how this just comes up as like a very matter of fact confrontation,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or kind of like a low level confrontation.
Well, that, and then the moments that Legoshi and Riz are having, the build up to the reveal where he's finding things that are crushed in the locker. He's getting like messages from Riz, not to dig any deeper, not to find out who it is, because he is the murderer. But the moments where Legoshi and Pina and Riz are all keeping the secret are pretty intense moments as well.
Yeah, very
and
intense,
I think that kind of like overweighs the dramaticness that I thought was going to happen with the murderer reveal, because those scenes were like I feel like more intense than probably a scene that had like this big boisterous gigantic reveal about who killed who, because those scenes build so much tension.
Yeah.
And like kind of set up for the rest of the season, because you're also being like, when is, you know, that someone's going to slip up somehow, this information is going to get out, because not only it's not just Legoshi and Riz anymore. Pina had like walked in and walked on down the hallway after everybody was like done taking care of Tao in the nurse's office, and Pina heard everything that Legoshi and Riz were talking about Tem's murder. So now it's like, as soon as the information bubble starts to widen, you know that information can't be contained. So like every moment that they are all three on screen together is like really intense, because you're like, ooh, I don't know, when is it going to happen? Ooh, who's going to die next? Because you know Riz is going to go off the rails. So basically, Riz is a brown bear. He's a big big brown bear. And he's been taking muscle atrophy pills to make his muscles weaker, so that he can assimilate into the school and with herbivores better, because
it can assimilate into modern society. I thought that whole thing that's fucking wild, man. That's crazy. And that's fucked up. It sucks. They got to go through that.
And the side effects give him like massive migraines and like crazy nightmares. And the only way that it can be suppressed is through honey.
That's all things.
I mean, that makes sense.
You know, he's a bear. We need
bears like honey. Yeah,
bears like honey.
Yeah.
So instead of taking it's
basically like steroids, right?
So instead of taking steroids, you take the opposite.
The anti-steroid.
Yeah, the anti-steroid.
You already big. You want to get tiny.
Yeah. I like that it's like, so we can put all these, animal characters through these weird, weird hyper realisms and these weird, like, different twists and turns to make this like as plausible as possible. But bears still like honey, dude. It's a bear. He's got to have some honey. He likes honey.
Yeah, even Yogi the bear liked honey.
You know?
You not? I'm gonna start calling him Yogi instead of Riz.
It's true. Bears like honey.
But yeah, so he's taking the muscular atrophy pills.
Yeah, so then he stopped. He's like, you know what? I'm good now. I don't need to take them. I feel like that's a lot of people think that. They're like, I don't need to take my medicine anymore because I'm better. Yeah. And I'm like, no.
But you're skipping what brings him to that point is his relationship with Tim.
Yeah, I think he's crazy. I think he's just crazy.
Oh, I don't think
I think
so.
Riz is crazy.
I don't think so at all.
Because yeah. I think
he's a psychopath?
Yes.
No.
I think he's bipolar and not medicated.
Wow. Interesting.
There's something happening up in his brain that like the synapses are not connecting.
Oh, I don't know.
They're not connecting.
I thought, it's interesting. It's like one person's genius is another person's crazy or something. Like I thought it was like his worldview and the way his worldview conflicts with Legoshi's was so interesting and so nuanced, and there's so much to dig into, and you would chalk it all up to, oh, that dude's just fucked up in the head, he's like bipolar.
Yeah.
I don't
I
think
feel like
it's,
the
I don't
I
think
feel
it's
like
not
the muscle atrophy pills are affecting his mental health.
atrophying his brain too.
Yeah, like literally. Because okay, so
So
in his own mind, Tem is like his best friend. He can show him like his true self, and that's why he decided to stop taking these pills, because he finally befriended an herbivore, and like that's like the thing that carnivores apparently are striving for in this world, is to befriend herbivores and like protect them and, you know, get close to them and understand them. And you don't do that by murdering your best friend.
yeah, but I don't think it's as simple as that, because you know, we're ascribing human human understandings, or like a human sense of social contract to animals that don't have that same social contract. And we deal with this a little bit in season 1, and I'm thinking specifically of the scene of Legoshi and Hal in the Love Hotel, and Hal suddenly jams her arm inside Legoshi's mouth and is like, I'm sorry, I just, you know, my body wants to be eaten. But season 2 really digs into the herbivore carnivore dynamic more than season 1. Season 1 deals with this specifically with Legoshi and Hal, and a little bit with Luis, but season 2 deals with this in a far broader societal sense. We see this with far more side characters as well. And so I think, you know, when we think of the struggle of carnivores to understand herbivores, which I think is very interestingly portrayed in this story, because we kind of see animals discussing and advocating for, you know, animal rights and veganism, but they're doing so using human empathy and human logic, which I think is a way of discussing animal rights that I've just never really seen before. And I also think that there's an element of gender to this as well, that we see kind of carnivore and herbivore as being a kind of an analog to men and women, right? To the male and female experience. And we see this with Ruiz really strongly, because Ruiz struggles a lot with, you know, how can I be masculine when I am inherently feminine, right? Like, how can I be strong when I'm an herbivore and I cannot be physically strong? It's just not possible for me. And I think we see this plays out with Ruiz, and we see this with carnivores in general. And we think of, you know, is their goal here really to understand and protect herbivores? I don't think that's Ruiz's goal. I think that's Legoshi's goal. Legoshi makes the point consistently that, you know, my strength is not for my happiness. I am here to understand and protect herbivores. I want to protect Hal. I want to protect the herbivore members of the drama club. But Ruiz is much more into the food chain. You know, Ruiz kind of takes his friendship with Tim and draws the conclusion that, you know, because I know Tim and I love Tim, that I should eat Tim because I am a carnivore and he is an herbivore and he is my friend, and we have this intimate relationship. So the door has been opened for each of us to kind of accept the other's place in this world, their lot in life. You know, as an herbivore, it is your role to be eaten, and it is my role to eat as a carnivore. So when you know, he goes off, he befriends Tim and builds this intimate friendship and relationship with Tim, with this alpaca, and then Tim, you know, he goes off the meds and he's like, Tim, this is the real me, you know, like, this is, I'm not even taking the meds anymore, like, this is me. And Tim at first is, you know, he like, I guess he doesn't yank off Tim's arm, but he like injures Tim, and just
completely
completely unintentionally. And Tem is like, Jesus fucking Christ, he runs away. He's like, all you carnivores are fucking monsters, you're all like, herbivores will never be able to get along with you. There's a divide that cannot be bridged because, you are all ultimately, preying on all of us herbivores.
Mhm.
You'll never be able to understand us. But then from the way Reese describes this,
That's the key word right there. From the way Reese describes their interaction.
because we see on screen that Tem gives Reese a big hug. They have this big loving embrace where I think what's being communicated to us as the audience is that they have accepted and kind of acknowledged each other, that Tem, is like, I am ready to be eaten by this, by my friend,
Mhm.
because that is what I'm supposed to do. And Reese is ready to eat his friend because that is what he's supposed to do. It's
Wow.
like a moment of kinship and like a move beyond social contract into the world of pure nature, of the food chain. And so Reese eats Tem and feels like this is a good thing. This is the way that a friendship between carnivores and herbivores must be, because we cannot ultimately understand each other, because that's the way things are supposed to be. Even if we deny it, even if we build social contract contrary to that, it's just inherent. There's no avoiding it.
And I would argue that you only see anything shot from Reese's perspective is Tem accepting what he's about to what Reese is about to do to him. Whereas everything shot from Tem's perspective is of a person about to be eaten by someone, and he does not want that to happen. He's like fighting for his life.
Yeah, I guess that's true, because that's kind of what we see in the opening scenes of season 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because after hearing his like speech about them becoming one and accepting each other, and you're telling me that I can eat you. You told me that. That's something that you just told me I could do. And then he goes in for a hug. They hug each other. But anything shot from Tem's perspective is him like completely frightened, completely running away, trying to get out of whatever situation he's into. And that to me meant that Reese is kind of just like accepting his carnivore instincts and eating someone, even though that they're friends. He's like, I don't care. I'm submitting to whatever you think. This is whatever everyone thinks carnivores are supposed to be doing. This is my way of making it okay with myself so I can continue
right. So
being in school.
This is him projecting a little bit onto Tem in order to justify his bad actions to himself.
Yeah, because you can see in other shots where he's like making food for people and like being around the drama club, like there are times when he is like totally off the rails and has to like snap himself back into reality, into the situation that he's in, and just making food and not thinking about devouring people. And I feel like it when we're ascribing all of these human emotions onto animals and like the animal way of life, it's kind of like hard to think about what animals would do in that situation and what would allow another animal to eat each other, or like what they accept as like natural. So I don't know. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, I guess you could so I think about Disney characters, like in Lion King. They've kind of described those characteristics in that movie, which is really just Kimba the White Lion. But yeah, like the idea that Scar doesn't necessarily eat people, like it's a really PG version. You just imagine if Lion King had that more mature angle, how much more nuance it could be. Which is Paru Itagaki is directly inspired. That was like her first crush, apparently, based on this interview I found. It was Scar from Lion King.
She had a crush on Scar?
Yeah.
Why aren't there more lions in it? Well, I guess lions are the Yakuza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had a crush on this lion.
I mean,
Yeah.
Scar's
That
pretty
explains a
badass.
lot.
Scar's pretty badass, so.
Yeah. She says
Who
like,
was your guys' first animal crush?
oh jeez.
Don't say Lola Bunny.
I've never had the desire to sleep with an animal character.
Come on. We watched 2 seasons of Beastars.
Yeah, but I don't want to fuck any of these characters.
Oh my god, did you all see that sexy the sexy stripper scene? in
Yeah, well, let's
episode
talk
3?
about what do you
Oh
have
my
against the
God.
club scene? I
Not
thought the
that
club scene-
scene, not that club scene. There's another scene when they take away the clubs because of the incident with Tao. So Tao gets his arm ripped off by
Oh,
another
that's what you
carnivore,
meant.
and
Okay,
the
sorry.
this girl is like the one of the, what was she, another alpaca or a sheep or something like that, is yelling at Bill because Bill's like, yeah, you know, it's a good thing we should be separate because, you know, we don't know our strengths sometimes and we hurt people that we care about and we should be separated because I don't want to hurt my friends. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're just taking it lightly? Like none of this means anything to you? Like everything that we've worked for is because we interact with each other on a daily basis. And her reasoning for getting mad at him like pissed me off.
Why?
I wrote it down. Hold on. I'm like, what? She's so like there are a couple like contradictory statements in this series and I was just like, that doesn't make sense for the narrative. Like that's not a reason for people to like, okay. Like she said he was a coward for wanting the club to be disbanded and knows about him eating meat on the black market. So she knows that this person is going to the black market after school hours and eating herbivore meat.
Yeah.
And she still wants to be friends with him.
Yeah.
Because he can see the good and the bad in his classmates. But not everyone wants that same outcome. Some people don't want to be eaten when they're trying to rehearse for a play. Like I get that it's a metaphor for segregation, which like no, we should all be able to interact with each other. But like, but in this instance, when you're applying like carnivore and herbivore things to these characters, like I just don't get it.
I didn't see it as a metaphor for segregation personally.
Well, because they want to keep everyone separate now. They're
yeah,
like, oh,
but I guess I just didn't see it as a race-based thing.
I mean, yeah. That's what I thought. They're like, oh, well, now we have to keep everybody separate because you guys can't interact with these people because all you do is eat them and hurt them and murder them. And then she was like, you're a coward for wanting that. And I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I don't know. I agree with her, honestly. And I understand Bill's perspective that from a practical standpoint, separating the herbivores and the carnivores makes things simpler for everyone. But I think that little alpaca and Legoshi, and I think the series in general makes the argument that even though it is difficult to understand each other and it carries risk, it is not possible to live a fulfilling life without, you know, having to, without putting in the work to find a way to coexist and to get along with the people around you in a reasonable way. You know, that because it is difficult. You know, we see that carnivores are, you know, putting themselves through difficulty, like Ree's taking the meds. Carnivores are putting themselves through difficulty to make themselves more palatable to herbivores. And herbivores are just living in constant fear and anxiety of being harmed by carnivores. Mm-hmm. So there is merit to the idea that, we should just separate them so the bears can just go buck wild and, the herbivores won't have to be, so high strung. Ain't nobody going to be there to eat them. But the drama club is portrayed as being kind of the front lines for how herbivores and carnivores can build meaningful friendships and can coexist and can find ways to understand each other, if they make the effort, if they try, and that by doing so, they can create a better, more valuable, more enriched society, more enriched population.
I'm just thinking we got one murder and one ripped off arm already from this drama club. What else can ensue? We'll split them up.
Yeah. Nah.
Can you imagine being that Black Panther?
Yeah,
and hurt, literally ripping off your friend's arm because you don't know your own strength. That is crazy. I really felt for him under the steps. He's like, what do I do? I don't like.
Yeah, I thought that was a really powerful section of the show.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? And there's not really like a set of best practices or like an easy way to, there's not an easy path forward. And we see this in real life too, when people hurt each other, when, even if it's unintentional, how do you move forward and how do you resolve the situation? Is it possible to find resolution? And in the show, they find resolution. Their anteater gets his arm reattached, and he has medical difficulty, but he'll recover. And Black Panther and the anteater reconcile, and they, are like, decide that these things happen. It's a shame that it does, but there's nothing either of us can easily do about it. And so the best we can do is to, be better going forward, and that's acceptable. And we're still going to be friends and still be in the drama club, and it's all good. And I thought that was, quite, it was beautiful. A beautiful moment.
It was beautiful. I cried. I wouldn't have been able to forgive that person that easily.
Based on the amount of time that we've spent on this scene, do you all find that this was a very pivotal moment in the series? Like,
no, I thought, well, yeah, no, insofar as I thought this second season was full of scenes like this.
I wasn't really too keen on the last there's a Legoshi's training situation was just weird to me.
It's very interesting.
Like,
it is a truly interesting take on veganism and animal rights.
Yeah.
And when he eats that, so
moth.
So yeah, in the story, Legoshi goes through meaningful psychological training to break his desire to eat meat. He does this by sitting in a room with a giant fucking hunk of beef hanging from the ceiling. And he's basically just got to sit in this room and not flip the fuck out, because his auto instinct would be to go start eating this meat that's right in front of him. But eventually he gets to a point where he can sit there and he can embrace the meat, and he doesn't want to eat it. He conquers his instincts. And so this is a good thing. The show,
I like his firepower, his Kurama level up, if you will. The show portrays this as a good thing, and I also think this is a good thing. It is an important point in Legoshi's path towards becoming this like weird Zen vegan that will protect herbivores. And then when he gets in this fight with Reese and he's gonna lose, well, he goes into the fight and he's like, I can't fucking fight this bear, I'm gonna lose. Because his jaw strength has been weakened from all of his training,
because he doesn't actually eat any meat. He needs meat to be strong, but he doesn't eat meat anymore, so there's a limit to how much strength he really gets. So his teacher, the panda bear, says, why don't you try eating some bugs? And then he eats a fucking bug. It's fucking gross, man. Like, I don't like, it's weird. Like, I get that people eat bugs all the way around the world. If you eat bugs, that's cool. But personally, from being a fucking hipster American scumbag, I can't. I
No.
fucking hate bugs so much.
Bugs are the one thing that Dan doesn't like.
I hate bugs.
I could not eat a
that
bug
shit,
either.
yeah. But Legoshi eats a bug and then has a vision of this bug coming to him to be like, why did you take away my life? Yeah, like, oh my god.
So that was so dumb to me. I was like, what the fuck is
I didn't think it was so
I didn't like that. I'm just like, okay, we get it. You're going on this like mystical journey through yourself and self-discovery of your veganism.
I thought it was really interesting.
Okay, because you ate a bug, you ate a little larva, and then the moth that it was going to become comes to you and tells you, you have to respect all animals, all life. You have to respect it, and it doesn't matter if you eat me as long as you have respected the path to eating me or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's a vegan now. Okay, so he's like, I can't eat bugs anymore. Bugs are gross. I can't do that. But you know what?
Wait. The bug says something really important though.
Okay.
The bug makes the point that that bugs don't have goals and don't have kind of life, social
thought.
Life, conscious thought in the same way that all the other animals do.
Mm-hmm.
Which is part of the reason why they, the bug kind of speaks to a justification as to why it would be okay to eat these bugs. Like, why is it okay to, like, you ate me and stole my life, but also my life is like really dumb and simple, so it doesn't really matter that it was stolen. My life was kind of meaningless anyway. That's what the bug tells Legoshi.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really interesting because you could kind of like, how far down the animal food chain do you ascribe this? Like, do we think it's okay to eat goats because goats have stupid, simple lives and don't have feelings the same way people do? Or do we think it's okay to eat fish for this reason? Or
in Beastars, goats don't live simple lives. They live complex lives.
But I'm saying, sorry, I should clarify. I mean, in real life.
Oh, well, I mean, food chain,
In real life, we're all a little bit of Reeves, aren't we?
What did I was watching something. I forget what. Could have been the Hathaway movie. I don't trailer it. I was watching something, and now it's lost. Never mind. Okay, damn it.
Right, Geoff, chime in.
Bug's Life. No, I see what you're saying, Dan. Like, because as humans, we apply the same philosophy to eating animals. Like, they have no consciousness, so therefore we should be able to eat them. And some people are like, well, we can eat fish, or we can eat this instead. And well, it's like, no, that's all the same. Like, everything that has life has value. And if you suss out a life, then you don't know for sure, like, what that animal or what that being could have done within the time that it had. Like, what it, for however you want to interpret that as.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That means I'm still going to eat my salmon every day, though.
But it makes me think,
salmon.
how many people are going to become vegetarians after watching this?
Yeah, I am genuinely curious if the author is vegan or anti-vegan or has any strong stance about animal rights. Because I could see it going either way. I could see them writing Beastars as kind of a advocation for veganism, or I could see them writing it as a, not exactly anti-vegan propaganda, but writing it from a standpoint that, like, oh, veganism's cool and all, but also it's like not that great and like not the right way, and Ruiz have the right standpoint, and we will see Legoshi as this like tragic hero that can never actually follow through with his dreams because of his weird veganism.
Yeah, but he's not vegan.
Legoshi?
Yeah, he eats
Legoshi's
eggs.
not vegan.
He eats eggs.
He literally ate Ruiz's leg.
Yeah, well, that's a very interesting scene as well. And that's the other side of the coin from Ruiz eating Tem the alpaca, was Legoshi eating Ruiz's leg. And so how are these interactions different? You know, and
Consent.
also I just want consent. Well, so I think depending on how you read this story, I think you could say that Tem gave consent. Ruiz wants you to believe that Tem gave consent.
There you go. Yeah, Reese wants you to think that so that he doesn't have a guilty conscience.
Yeah, I did not. So as I watched this yesterday, I did not think of Reese being a faulty narrator in the way that you described, Amelia. But I understand. I think you make a good argument. I think your reading of this is more correct than mine.
Well,
Because it's true that
I don't know if it's correct. I'm just saying that's how I thought of the situation.
Yeah.
But I also see where you're coming from with your side of the situation as well, which is, that's what we do. That's what we do on a podcast. We figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
We hear everybody's angles.
So let's say then I've decided that I think you're more right than me. So let's say then that Tem did not consent to being eaten. Ruiz consents to being eaten. Is that we think is the defining difference between these two?
Well, that and Reese has never been an advocate for herbivores. He puts on a face to become more likable so that people don't fear him wherever he goes. He puts on this like fake facade. I forgot where my sentence was going.
Legoshi is a real advocate for the herbivores.
Yes, he is. So he is at any chance he is fighting for herbivore rights. He's saying, I love Haru. I'm going to protect her. Nobody should eat meat, like yada, yada. But like, then you go through all of this training to hone in your skills without eating meat. You put your body through stress. You are kind of being like kind of an authority on other people with your beliefs, because you're, him the panda go and capture people who are addicted to eating meat and try and reform them. And then just because your friend says that it's okay to eat him, you go ahead and do it. Like, that makes me think that his like, not training, but like his values and his morals were all like not like made up. Like he really? he only wants to advocate for herbivores when it suits him, because if he doesn't advocate for not eating not eating herbivores, then like his relationship with Hal is completely different, because the entire first season is him wanting to eat Hal.
Yeah. And
then now he's like, oh, I'm reformed. I did all this training. Like I'm a good person. I don't eat herbivores. I'm vegan, whatever. But then you literally, like, as soon as somebody like says it's okay, you just go ahead and do it, as if none of that ever meant anything to you.
Yeah, but
I understand that, like, I understand where Ruiz is coming from, because he has a connection with Legoshi in a sense that, like, if he wanted him to eat his leg, it would be okay, because they are that connected to each other. They understand where each other's coming from.
Yeah, they have the kind of friendship that Reese and Tem were striving for, but could not actually accomplish.
But like, what was all your training for?
Well, I think you're right with your first point, that consent is the key difference here. I think it's perfectly acceptable for a vegan Legoshi to eat Ruiz's leg when Ruiz is like, I am giving you my leg, because and I thought it was kind of, I understand that Legoshi himself argues against that angle, because he makes a specific point to Ruiz that I'm not eating your leg because you offered it to me. I'm eating your leg because I want to, which would imply, as you argue, Amelia, that he is doing something that he knows is wrong, that is contrary to his own values.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that in a broader sense, that, you know, Ruiz is still alive. You know, he didn't die, and it's his leg to give up if he so desires. And you know, I think the idea of why it's wrong to eat animals is because they don't want to die, they don't want to be eaten. But if they do want to be eaten, then
So then that's what
maybe
that's
maybe
what
it's okay to just eat them.
I get that, but then like, why does everyone that eats someone have consequences to face? If that's the case and you get consent, why are there still consequences to face? You know what I mean? It's just like,
But I'm not sure there are.
well, the panther gets suspended from school because he rips off the arm.
Well, but that wasn't, the anteater wasn't like, please rip off my arm. But I do understand what you mean insofar as Legoshi in the epilogue. It is shown that Legoshi gets arrested and charged with devourment for eating Ruiz's leg.
Mm-hmm.
But he basically like he cops the felony but escapes any sentencing because Ruiz was like, I gave him my fucking leg, and all of Legoshi's friends stand up for him. But so I guess he does still face consequences for eating this leg that was offered to him. But I was thinking of the black market, like all these people eating, or like the students eating the poor guy's fingers in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't really face consequences for eating this guy's fingers that he willingly gave up for money. I mean, it's
I
cruel
assume
exploitation. But
I thought the black market was, you know, what it is, the black market. Nobody you know, it's like buying,
I
you
guess
know what I
that's
mean?
true. Yeah.
It's like getting stuff off the dark web. It's not,
Yeah.
it's wrong, but you're probably not going to get in trouble unless you're buying a lot of stuff off there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess that's true.
But yeah, it just like, it doesn't detract from my enjoyment of the show at all. It just like a little bit contradictory to me.
So do you think that if cows could talk,
Okay.
and cows went around being like, I can't wait to be fucking eaten, like my life is fucking dumb and I just want to be eaten by the superior human race, do you think that people would still choose to be vegan? And I understand that, like, yeah, sure, because there are 50,000 other animals that don't talk, you know, that you know, but I mean,
Only cows.
I mean, in a like broad
I'm
sense,
just
if the
saying.
animals gave you consent to be eaten, do you think vegans would give up veganism?
I don't know, maybe. If they gave a good reason, they're like, please just murder me and eat me because I cannot take another minute in this field.
Well, if they're
My
able to have
own.
if they're able to have a conversation at an intellectual level, then perhaps that alone would make no one want to eat the animal.
True. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I don't murder my own cows anyway. So,
Yeah, and I that was kind of one of my takeaways from this, was like, I think if anything, this show argues that it is okay to eat meat if you go like hunt, kill, and prepare the thing on your own. Like, I think this is a show that would be against factory farming, but before hunter-gatherer style, like,
okay.
go hunt the deer and you know, have that for dinner for the next 3 weeks.
I don't think we've talked about the one
Ruiz.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, which is another huge line of discussion. And that I also thought this was kind of the weakest part of this season. Maybe not the weakest, because I think losing track of Legoshi and Hal was kind of whack. Although I understand the lack of focus. Like, yeah, they didn't get much screen time. I wish they did, because I think that's one of the more emotionally gratifying parts of this show, but I understand why they didn't. But with Ruiz as the head of the Lion Mafia, I just didn't really understand, like, I mean, he keeps telling Legoshi, like, oh, I'm fighting from the shadows. How? Like, what is his goal? What is he trying to accomplish by being the head of the Shisegumi? I don't get it.
He just wants to feel like he is powerful, like all of his carnivore
Yeah,
brethren.
I agree.
I think that's it.
So his goal really is a self-oriented goal.
I feel like it. I mean, that's all he ever talks about is himself.
Word, it's fair. I see that.
And he freaking eats meat.
Yeah, I thought that was sick. That was really cool.
Mm. Just to prove himself, to your point of masculine, feminine twist. Not even a twist, but yeah, just to like break. Yeah, like, oh, I have to eat the meat because all the other men are doing it, or I have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And he almost throws up because of it. Though I like Rui's relationship with Kabuki, I think his name is, the lion.
Yeah, Ibuki.
Yeah,
that was a really strong character development aspect that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I also thought that was a interesting way of building the carnivore herbivore relationship from a completely different dynamic and standpoint than Tembri's Legoshi Hal.
Mm-hmm. I think it's nice that it took a more mature approach to it, and it's not like these high school kids trying to figure out their place. It was like, people in the real world dealing with real world stuff.
Yeah, and Ruiz had lots of very interesting scenes throughout all this. Yeah, Ruiz eating meat was really cool. I thought Ruiz watching the lizard get his nuts cut off was really interesting. There's a scene where an elderly, and we have to assume filthy rich goat is like going to take body parts from this carnivorous lizard. It's implied for medical reasons, and that he's going to give this lizard a ton of money for this. And the goat's like, I just want to fuck my wife one more time before I die. So give me this lizard's nuts. And so the lizard gets his gonads and strife cut off. Yeah. And Ruiz watches this stuff and he thinks to himself, he reflects on the fact that the tables have turned today. Now we see a herbivore preying on a carnivore. His carnivore's down on his luck, needs money, and doesn't have anything else to offer but his body. And how many herbivores have been in this position? It was very interesting, thought-provoking. Same with being in the club and the stripper that's like, I don't care if I get eaten anymore. She's a herbivore stripper in a carnivore club. And then somebody, a jealous carnivore stripper, removes the gate that protects the herbivore stripper when she's dancing, and then a tiger jumps on up there and is about to eat the dancer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had flashbacks to Perfect Blue in that scene with all the looking at the eyes transfixed.
Yeah, for real.
All the stare. You know what I mean? Like they're removing the humanizing. No, in this case, we're not humanizing anything, but animalizing the character.
Yeah. But I didn't understand why Ruiz has to quit the Shisengumi, however you say it.
Because he can't go to school unless he does it. He's got to be with Legoshi.
Yeah, what's his goal? I didn't think he was trying to re-enlist in school. I thought he was just trying to get to the Legoshi and Reese fight under the highway. I mean, couldn't he just be like, all right, guys, we're going to go fuck up this bear and just bring his whole lion mafia to like oversee this fight?
That's what I thought he was gonna do.
Well, I thought he was leaving the Shishigumi because he wasn't getting fulfillment out of it anymore.
That would make sense.
And then he had proved to himself that he was powerful and got emancipated from his dad's, and then he was like, oh, well, I'm gonna go back to school now. And the Ibuki scene in the car happens.
Yeah.
So he
well, the
Ibuki's like, you have to stay here because we are dominating the underworld right now, and you're an herbivore, and that's never happened before, and you're really important to this organization. And he's like, I'm not really that important. I'm just a figurehead, and I'm not.
Yeah. They don't.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. No.
They don't show very much, but they tell quite a bit that the that the Lion Mafia is doing very well because they have an herbivore boss. So the business they do with herbivores goes significantly smoother, and everyone is more apt to trust them and to be open to doing business with them. I guess they show this a little bit with Ruiz walking into that like bar or medicine shop or whatever it was that had the turtle behind the counter. But for the most part, I think they tell over show. They've mentioned multiple times, oh, we're raking in the profits because we have Ruiz, because we have an herbivore as the boss. So I understand why Ibuki doesn't want Ruiz to go. And I just chalked it up to like Yakuza style, that like, oh, if you quit, I'm going to eat you,
Yeah.
I didn't think that was a carnivore on herbivore thing. I thought that was a criminal and life of criminal kind of thing. And that, so in the end, Ruiz does not shoot Ibuki. Ibuki is shot by Free. Ibuki in a prior scene gives Free a gun and says, if I ever lose control and try to eat the boss, I want you to kill me. And Free, for some reason that is not explained, is trailing them in the car while he's on a motorcycle, and rolls up and shoots Ibuki when he's about to eat Ruiz. And then Ruiz corrects Free and is like, why the fuck did you shoot Ibuki? Ibuki wasn't losing control. He was going to eat me because I'm going to quit. And Free was like, oh, fuck.
He was like, well, you can't come back now, because if you come back now, then Ibuki would have died in vain. But I didn't get any of that situation. I didn't understand any of that. I was like, why is this happening?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, Ibuki told Free to kill him if he loses control. Free sees that Ibuki's about to eat Ruiz, shoots Ibuki because he's like, oh, clearly Ibuki has lost control. Then Ruiz corrects Free and says, no, he wasn't losing control. It's because I was about to quit. Then Free is like, oh, that makes sense. But if I eat you, then I would have killed Ibuki for nothing. So just fucking go. And at least I can
face here again.
Yeah, exactly.
Never show your face again.
Yeah, it's like the only it's just a unfortunate situation there.
Yeah, and watching the end credits, after watching that scene, it makes it even more impactful. The entire ending credits is just like this hand-drawn animation. It almost looks like watercolor, and it's just like this kind of looks like an 80s music video of spiraling around the characters. And the aesthetic is really interesting. I don't know, it's just you kind of see them as Rui sees him as a father figure. Ibuki is a father figure, which he's never had a real father figure. So yeah, that it's like the only time in the whole show where I actually wanted to cry. I felt like this impact out of nowhere in that during that scene, which was surprising because the show is like it's it's emotional, but it's not. Doesn't evoke the same emotion as some live action stuff that I watch or that I've watched in the past. And we haven't brought up the fact that this is technically published in a shonen weekly shonen publication. So it's the idea of like, all right, so if you look at this from a shonen perspective, from that lens, there's nothing else like it. Jumping back into the whole like fighting montage in the end, and Legoshi learning to control his power, so to speak.
Yeah.
And like resisting or restraining from using his mouth. He's using like other body parts and using his brain differently. So, and then at the end, like, he eats Rui's leg and
then he
powers up.
hulks the fuck up.
Yeah, like
that was
levels up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was badass.
Ludicrous is brought up for the second time.
I know. It's clearly that word is in my head. Yeah, I didn't think it was badass. I thought it was borderline comical. Like, why the fuck would? Yeah, just eating his leg is gonna make him triple in size. Come on.
He hasn't had meat in forever, Dan. It was supple deer meat.
Yeah, when he fights the Shishigumi in first season, he fucking devastates the lions, kicks everyone's ass, and then so I'm like, well, why can't you do that to this bear? And then, because he didn't eat that meat.
I'm sorry, but his haircut was comical to me. I did not like that.
Oh, when he got the trim?
When he got the trim?
No.
I thought he looked good.
No. I was like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, it was an interesting portrayal of that character, because then you kind of forget. There was a Kara walked in while I was watching, and she's like, who's this character? I don't remember this character from the last season. I was like, yeah, that's just the main character. He's got a little trim, a little haircut.
That's okay. His color comes back as soon as he gets any protein.
Yeah.
Oh,
as soon as he got a tiny bit of bug.
Yeah.
Eating Mothra is what did it for him.
So in all this time, we haven't really discussed any of the female characters. We haven't talked about Hal or Juno.
Yeah, well, because Hal and Legoshi's relationship, like developing in this, is like so just like stupid to me. All he does is like,
yeah,
you're gonna marry me, and she's like, I'm not gonna marry you, and he's like, yeah, you are, nah. And she's like, no, I'm not, nah. Actually, yeah, I do want to marry you.
Yeah, it's very awkward, stilted. It's like. And
the first season there was so much like tension and emotional buildup, and like this season it's just basically like watching Orimo.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily think it was bad, but I didn't think it was good. I kind of understood what they were going for, but it was very unsatisfying because as you say, they just kind of dance around their emotions, but don't really do a good job of expressing them, much less even talking about them or communicating them. Like it's just kind of weird. And Legoshi's decision that like, oh, I'm gonna like stop being so intimate with Hal and I will protect her from a distance, but then he like doesn't really do that, and like it's just weird. Yeah. And bless our poor Juno. She barely even gets any screen time. Like, what the fuck did Juno even do for a whole season?
Yeah, Juno.
She hung out with Ruiz at one point, but like I barely even remember what they talked about.
She kept going to Ruiz when he was in the bar, to try and get him to come back to school because she didn't understand what he was doing, and she.
Neither did I.
Not the anybody did. She didn't understand like what made him not want to be at school with everybody else. And then she hung out with Hal on the roof for a little bit. And,
that's true. That was kind of a cool scene. Actually.
Yeah, that was cute because she kept being like, I don't like you, but I understand now why Legoshi loves you. She's like, I love you now. Yeah, because
You
you a
hot.
hot little beach.
Yeah, I want to fuck like a rabbit.
Yeah. She's like, yeah, it's cute.
I guess we have to wait for that scene later on.
Yo, I legit thought that Netflix was airing that stripper scene censored. I thought there might have been an uncensored version. I was like,
Yeah, I felt a little uncomfortable during that.
I was
Not gonna
like,
lie.
Really?
I
Why?
did. It's just the animal. I guess it's the animal aspect of it.
Mm.
Like
Word.
it's it's strange to think about, but we
Feel
never
that.
saw any Disney characters stripping and sex workers in Disney movies. So maybe that's why. Maybe there's sort of this blanket, like I don't know, like religious upbringing. I don't know. I really don't know. Like the
Are there
idea
sex
that
workers
pure,
in Disney shows?
No,
Oh,
but like the purity of Disney that you grow up believing in, sort of that mentality. Maybe that's just my own inner.
Yeah, well, so as you talk about this, I'm wondering, is your angle of discomfort because you don't want to see animal people like this, or because you don't want to see sex workers like this?
The animal part.
Word.
Like I'm visualizing an animal. Like what are their sex, or like does she have a vagina? Like what does that look like? Does she have nipples?
Word.
In my
yeah,
head, I'm
those are
like,
the questions we all want answered.
Yeah, like how do they have, like, is Legoshi's
I would
penis,
assume that it's
like,
a
the
furry
size?
vagina.
Okay. How big are the predators' penises?
Huge.
Yeah, dude, think about it. Yeah, like how many?
Fucking huge.
I'm pretty sure you could
Huge,
just do a
dude.
Google image search and find out.
There are no I don't remember seeing any horses in this one yet.
I didn't see any
there's a-
elephants either,
they're a
but elephants
donkey.
got a huge ass dick.
Oh.
Like,
Well,
I went to the zoo over the summer. Oh my god, and this elephant's dick was out, and everybody was making fun of him.
Oh, poor elephant.
I know, he's just trying to.
Just living his life.
He is.
The fanfics for this show must be just in the billions, and
Yeah.
the
Gotta be.
Dojin. I'm just sure there'll be a Dojin panel at Otakon this
You
year.
know what? We should hit up the Dojin table and see how many there are.
Mhm.
I would. So they talk about this a little bit in show. They discuss in their circle of friends the physical mechanics of how Legoshi could have sex with Hal, being that one is a giant wolf and the other is a tiny dwarf rabbit. Sounds hot.
Well, this is the thing with people giving this show shit for the furry aspect of it, and I'm like, no, this is not furry shit. There's a whole subculture devoted to furry, and well, now I kind of believe that this is the intersection of the two. And I'm terrified.
This is intellectual furry shit. Okay.
Yeah.
This ain't your mother's Dojin.
This ain't your mother's furry. Yeah. So when you say it like that, it sounds like we are. I'm uncomfortable thinking of it as being intellectual furry shit, because I don't want to give any credence to the furries, or like I don't want to be like, oh, this furry thing's okay. I genuinely don't think that this is a furry thing, and I understand why people would disagree with me, obviously.
Yeah.
But I see this less as towing to a furry culture, like, ooh, look at these sexy animals, and more of a, like, I don't think you could tell this story without using anthropomorphized animals. And I think I think it's just an unfortunate parallel or an unfortunate coincidence that, as we discuss anthropomorphized animal characters in a hyper realistic way, we just happen to coincide with people that dress up as animals.
Right. Do you remember the show Animorphs?
Oh, I loved that show.
Now that could be an angle.
There's a book series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
I read a lot of those books.
I'm pretty sure they had a TV show too, didn't they?
They did. Mhm.
Okay.
I read a little internet article of someone that read every Animorph book and was describing the experience.
I love hearing when you look up on the internet, Dan. It's always
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, I was thinking about Animorphs relatively recently. That's how I stumbled across this article. But it made me want to go read all the Animorph books.
I feel like that would be relatively easy.
Yeah, they're probably pretty short. When I was reading them in elementary school, so they must be pretty short and simple reads. But there's a lot of them. There's like over 100 or something.
Oh, okay.
Jesus.
We're covering all the animals.
All the animals. Yeah, I also wanted to talk about the music too. Great score. Love
Yeah,
the
but
jazz.
OP is a step down.
No,
Step down.
step up, my guy.
Mm.
Step up. I'm like not a fan of like that. It grew on me through season 1. I think the animation is way more stellar than the song is for season 1, but this one just like fit really perfect. And I also really love the cut scenes where it has like the character that is highlighted and then a slash through it.
Yeah.
All angsty like.
Yeah, I thought that was good. Had a good sound effect, good chomping sound effect.
I don't feel like that was in the first season, so that is a little bit of a difference between the two.
First season cut was they showed a student ID card for the characters.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I thought the episode where the girl cheetah and the girl llama from the drama club hang out. Maybe she's an alpaca. Sorry, the girl alpaca.
Yeah. Jeez.
Hang out. I thought that was
Don't miss animal them.
Sorry, I am but a human.
Alpacas have way softer fur.
Yeah, as a human, I just don't understand the plight of animals. But
I
anyway,
really liked that episode too.
Yeah, I thought that was a very evocative and emotionally nuanced episode. That was really, really great.
And they come to it, understand each other.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I jump backwards. The composer worked on Fluoride's Eye, Vivi, which we just
Really?
did a review on. Yeah, they did the opening theme and the ending themes. Some of them.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting coincidence.
Yasobi?
Satoru Kosaki.
Interesting.
All right. We covered a lot. There's still more to talk about, but there's a lot going on in the show. I implore everyone to watch it, as I've said in the past. First season, at least. You haven't watched the second season.
Yeah, I think you might as well watch both seasons, honestly. I think second season is so interesting with kind of the discussion of animal rights from the perspective of animals using human tools to build their cases. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I'm not ready to go vegan because of this show.
Oh, no.
But I did think it was interesting.
Yeah.
I'm ready to not eat any insects so they don't haunt me in my dreams.
Is anybody going to go read the manga?
No.
Okay.
I kind of want to know if things were cut out of Ruiz's storyline for the anime, because it kind of seemed like that might be the case to me based on how much of it we saw. So maybe I will.
Did you guys feel that this show had a particular gender dynamic? Like, did you feel like the herbivores were an analog to women and the carnivores were an analog to men?
Maybe.
Yeah.
So femininity and masculinity.
Yeah.
You know, I did think it started becoming a little bit BL bait towards the end, where people were telling each other how much they love them and putting their hands in places that were a little lower than the no zone. So, well, y'all catch that?
No.
So when Tem and Reese are talking on the bench, and Tem is consoling Reese about his situation, his wanting
Meds.
to, his hand is on his knee for a very long time, like the entire time they're talking on the bench. And then Reese's account of the devouring, Tem is hugging him with one hand around his waist and one hand almost touching his butt.
Oh,
And
I catch that.
then Legoshi was all like, I need to be closer to Ruiz. I need to understand him. And Ruiz is like, I need Legoshi. And I'm like, y'all gonna fuck later or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Legoshi and Ruiz have always had this homoerotic relationship.
I was like, they're turning up the BL for season 2.
There was, I mean, in the beginning where Legoshi is in that locker room with Tem, or with, I'm sorry, with who the hell is that new character's name?
Pina.
So when Pina's getting, I think like they're physically getting close to each other in the locker room, and it seemed like he was making an advance. Pina was making an advance on Legoshi, but it never goes beyond that. And we know that who knows, maybe he's gender fluid. Who knows? They never explored that yet. In this show.
I mean, Pina clearly is a ladies' person. He's got many ladies.
Too many ladies.
Yeah. Too many ladies. He can't keep them straight. He goes on a date with somebody and calls her by the wrong name.
And it's not the first time.
Right.
Yeah, but I think again, there's there's an element of femininity to Pina. That's part of his character strength.
Yeah. Sexually fluid. I'm sorry, I didn't mean gender fluid. I'll make that correction.
I think that the femininity of being an herbivore, I think, is one of the most dominant. I think is the dominant inner conflict of Ruiz. That's why Ruiz both loves and hates carnivores. He basically wants to be a carnivore.
He wants that power. He wants to feel powerful. He wants to know what it's like to dominate physically.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, just answer your question, Dan. Yeah, that's all I could think about was masculine and feminine tones in the show. Not necessarily race or more just masculine, feminine, and roles, and like who is protecting who, and the bunny. Like they've said, Legoshi says like, yeah, I'm here to protect Haru or Hal, whatever you want to call them, because they're small and tiny. Like I've experienced that with dating. Like I've attracted people sometimes who like feel like they need protecting, but that's such a social not trope, but like what am I trying to say?
Stereotype, cliche,
role, like a social role, gender role, And
that has happened in my life as well, where women in my life have expressed to me that they like that I am a tall, broad-shouldered guy. That they are attracted to the role of protector. I'm big, make them feel small.
One time I dated somebody that was shorter than me, and he made me feel like an ogre.
Oh, you're not,
because my feet stuck out farther from in the bed, and I hated it so much. So I broke up with him. Couldn't handle it.
Interesting.
Need tall, strong man.
It's very uncommon for men to date women who are taller than them. And that's pretty common in our society. Tom Cruise is very short. Did you know that?
He is so short, actually.
Yeah. People go, he's an action hero, very masculine man, but he's.
I think he's as tall as me. He's 5'5", isn't he?
I believe it.
Oh, really?
I
Wow.
think maybe
think he's-
shorter than that.
I think he's really short. How
Yeah.
tall is Tom Cruise? 5'7". Okay, my bad.
5'7".
I mean, 2 inches taller than me. I'm short. Cameron Diaz is 5'9".
Rob Zombie, also very short.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Who'd have thunk?
That guy wears platform shoes.
I would if I was a short man.
Yeah,
Wear boots.
I want to advocate for my short men.
Oh, okay.
Short men,
Go off, sis.
it's fine to be short. There ain't nothing wrong. Height,
He just gave all short men 2 thumbs up.
yeah. You know, they get along because I on the internet I hang out on Reddit, and this is something that I see on Reddit our Tinder, where people discuss Tinder.
Okay.
And there's many people that it seems like this is a common thing in the world of online dating to frown upon men being short, but it's okay to be short.
What if Haru was really tall and Legoshi was really small? How would that play out?
It's hot. But
Think Easter
yeah,
Bunny with a
cute little
Chihuahua.
puppy. Yeah, Easter
Yeah,
Bunny and
Chihuahua.
Chihuahua. How would this story change if Hal was the Easter Bunny and Legoshi was a Chihuahua? I mean, I guess it would be Hal that's protecting Legoshi, and Legoshi might be the one struggling with masculinity.
Mm.
But I don't know, maybe he doesn't struggle with masculinity because people have, different, everyone's got their own sense of, identity and value structure and worldview. I mean, it's not important to, not important to be tall or short or any such thing, any one way or another for many people in this world. So maybe it works out just as well. But I
Well
guess,
said. Well said, Dan. Well said. I gave Beastars a 9. Season 2's a 9. It's a 9 for me.
9.
Yeah, I give it a 8 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I would have liked more adept relationship writing between Legoshi and Hal and Juno and Ruiz, because it is their love trapezoid that keeps me going. That is my initial emotional investment in the show. And that's still what I want to see resolved in an emotionally satisfying manner. Season 2 does little to address this, which is okay, but gets a point knocked off for that.
The only thing I wanted to know is who murdered Tem. And we found out. But I feel like it's still unresolved. So.
Is it?
Well, because Riz just goes to jail, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, but what other resolution are you looking for?
I don't know, like he could be sad about it. He's like not sad. He like doesn't care. He's like, yeah, I ate him. He told me I could. So
yeah.
I wanted
I know. That's like the entire point.
I'm just saying.
That's why Legoshi and him fight to the death in this very respectful manner, because of their oppositional worldviews.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would give this show. It's between an 8 and 9. Somewhere in there. I would like to rewatch it. But
there's has not been a season 3 confirmed, but there is enough manga for a season 3? I think I've heard. I read on the internet.
Not sure.
Yeah,
Like-
because the first season ended with "See you in the second season," and this
Yeah.
ended with nothing, no hope for the future. That's why it gets a 10. I mean 9. There's no hope for more
So if you
furry
look at it,
stripper scenes.
yeah. So this is the final conclusion to the anime for a foreseeable future. Then you give it a higher score. Like if this is the end,
Ooh, if this is
last thing.
the end. I feel like it's still a 9.
Hmm.
You know, it does a lot of things extremely well. There's just like nitpicky things that I don't like about it. Why do you train so hard and then go ahead and just like eat a deer real quick?
Because of consent.
Okay, I get it. Consent to everything. I can't imagine someone being like, yes, please take my leg. Please, please, please.
Yeah. If only we could talk to chickens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who apparently have no problem giving up their offspring.
Take my babies.
They actually revel in the fact that you can eat their babies.
Yeah.
I think that's where we should end this episode. Eating chicken babies.
Yeah, go to fucking Popeyes and get your chicken sandwiches right now.
The chickens want you to.
They do.
They do.
Yeah, can you imagine being a chicken that actually wants to raise a child and facing the judgment of all the other chickens around you?
Oh.
What the fuck are you doing with that child? Why is it still alive?
All right. Well, we'll be back in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
With
are we gonna
with
have an episode in between? We're gonna have a lot of prep
Yeah.
for this panel.
Our next episode is on Hibernate Renmei. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Our
So we
next
might-
episode is on Hibernate Renmei.
With a con report from Otaku. It might be a bonus episode, or we might just smash it into one. Who knows?
Yeah. And you can oh god, okay. And check out our Discord or Instagram for all of our panel updates and our Otakon our Otakon adventures.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be posting
Mhm.
on our Instagram. Join our Discord. We'll post a bunch of stuff. Okay, and we'll see you in the next episode, whenever that is.
All right. Stay tuned.
Goodbye.
Tuning off. And
Bye.
bye. Bye. See ya.
Bye. Otskare.
Goodbye.
See you later.
I almost hit leave. We hope you enjoyed that episode of the Otaku Host Club podcast. If you want to be a part of the conversation or participate during episodes, hop on into our Discord server. The invite link should be in the show notes of wherever you're listening to this on. Or you can head on over to our website, otakuhostclub.com, where you'll find links to previous episodes, as well as our Instagram at Otaku Host Club, and our YouTube channel, where we put out video versions of episodes after they hit Spotify. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.